They were the first team that I fell in love with as a kid, was the Sonics.
I would describe it as basically kind of getting a part of my childhood back.
I let a few tears out.
The will of the fans carried it for so long, and it feels like it's paid off.
I don't think there's another city that wants it and deserves it more.
Seattle needs a team back. We've waited long enough.
We're not next in line. It's our turn for sure.
It seems like this story hopefully is coming full circle.
Sonics fans never gave up hope, and now their pleas have been answered. After nearly 2 decades, the NBA is greenlighting the next phase of expansion. It's the first major step toward the return of the Sonics, the closest we have been in 18 years. Here's a look at the next steps now that this critical vote has happened. The bidding process will soon begin. The league will take formal bids from potential ownership groups for Seattle and Las Vegas. The final approval would take place hopefully in July at the Board of Governors meeting in Vegas. The teams would debut then in the 2028-29 regular season, marking 24 years since the last expansion. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver says some owners don't feel the need to expand, but all of them voted to at least start the process and talk about a potential ownership group. The front runner is Samantha Holloway and the Kraken ownership group, who own Climate Pledge Arena. So despite some reservations, expansion does appear to be on track, and Silver says Seattle is in great standing with the league.
We had a franchise in Seattle for over 40 years. We have a WNBA franchise in Seattle right now. And there's an enormous amount of passion for NBA basketball and WNBA basketball in that market.
There was no discussion of what the price tag might be, but we previously reported the Sonics could go for somewhere between $7 and $10 billion. Governor Bob Ferguson has had at least 2 meetings with Silver over the past few months, another with the Kraken ownership team today. He says he's ready to do what he can to get the NBA back to Washington State.
I know how strongly people feel about the Sonics and the loss to our community when they left for Oklahoma City. And so just ready to do whatever I can to be helpful in bringing them back and hopefully bringing them back soon.
If the Sonics do return to Seattle, they will likely pick up right where they left off back in 2008. NBA insider Bobby Marks says the Oklahoma City Thunder are reportedly expected to give back the Sonics their history, which includes their logo, the colors, retired jerseys, and of course their 1979 NBA championship. The trophy, by the way, already here at Mohai, just wanting to come out of storage. We have a lot to get to tonight, from fan reaction to all that memorabilia, but we're going to begin with how Sonics legends are reacting to the possible return of the team. As Jim Nelson shows us, that energy brought fans and former players together at Seattle Pacific University.
This is where the Seattle Superhawks hosted the Vancouver Bears in the United States Basketball League. You may not be so familiar with the team or the league itself, but you're very familiar with some of the people behind this team. And they have been holding out hope for a long time that their original team would soon be back.
Nobody would mistake this for one of those memorable nights at Key Arena, but it is professional basketball in Seattle. The self-described League of Opportunity has a long history, and on Wednesday, they honored the city's basketball history with Supersonics Legends Night.
I just want the fans to understand in Seattle that you can be happy, you know. People can stop coming up to me, asking me when it's going to come back, when it's going to come back.
Gary Payton is the associate head coach of the Superhawks, and the Glove couldn't be more thrilled about the NBA once again catching on here.
And we do know what day we're coming back. I want everybody to be out there and support it. Show these people why Seattle shouldn't have lost a team and why they're getting a team back. And that's what it is. And I know these fans are going to be excited. We're going to have a big party, and we're going to do it when we know for sure.
He and a few other Sonics legends were honored at the game, including Xavier McDaniel and Sam Perkins.
It left a cavity or a deficit, you know, in our dreams. So I think Seattle, the people, the fans, the culture here, kind of missed it.
I just think that Seattle has one of the hotbeds of basketball. And I know people used to love to come to Seattle. Talking about Big X, man, I'll be glad we get up to see y'all. I mean, I miss coming to the games.
What better night to celebrate those guys than the night NBA owners voted to consider expansion.
It's here, you know what I'm saying? And now we just got to get the logistics out, get the owner who's going to own it, who's going to be the rightful owner of it, and get it. I can't tell you guys all of that. That's not what I'm supposed to be doing. So I'm just happy everybody knows that we're going to get a team back soon.
Now they wait. We all wait for new memories to be made.
By the way, Gary Payton said he'd be interested in joining a front office of the new Sonics. There's still a long way to go. NBA owners would have to approve a final vote as to whether or not they will indeed, for sure, move forward with expansion. In Seattle, Jim Nelson, King 5 News.
Bring them back. We have seen these signs around the city for decades, and now fans are buzzing at the possibility of the Sonics homecoming. Sonics fans gathered at Queen Anne Beer Hall in Seattle earlier this morning to watch NBA Commissioner Silver's announcement. One of the owners, a proud diehard fan, told us this is the moment he's been waiting for.
When the Sonics left, this whole community kind of, all the businesses here really suffered and struggled through that. So, the Kraken brought that business back. We've had a really awesome couple of years with the Kraken here, and I know that with the Sonics back, it's going to just bring that excitement, that electricity back to this area.
We also spoke with Danny O'Neill, former beat writer for the Sonics with the Seattle PI and former radio host for 710 ESPN Seattle. He believes it was only a matter of time before the Sonics returned to become an anchor in the city once again.
The city's interest and love for the Sonics, I think that was the hardest thing for all of us to stomach when the team left. There's been a hole. It's 18 years. That's pretty much a full generation of people that grew up without that team. And that's really too bad, but I am grateful that we won't have another generation that'll grow up without having the Sonics.
And while there's still a long road ahead, fans here are already buying in with new Sonics gear flying off the shelves. The Downtown Seattle Association says the team's return would bring more than just nostalgia. It could drive business to restaurants, hotels, and bars.
Sonics coming back to Seattle, I think, is one of the great unifying moments in our city. Unifying fans from when they were here last to the folks that are new to our city that love basketball that may have moved here 5 or 10 years ago after the Sonics left but didn't have a team.
The Downtown Seattle Association says this is a great unifying moment for the city after the Super Bowl parade that saw tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands packed downtown. Even Seattle's Museum of History and Industry is getting ready. It says it is the official steward of a collection of some 5,000 Sonics artifacts and memorabilia. Took possession of all of that following the team's 2008 move. All of it is currently stored in a climate-controlled warehouse and is not accessible to the public. Among the items in Mohai's care, the 1979 championship trophy I mentioned. The memorabilia will remain with the museum until a new team returns to Seattle. The Sonics' return is a story that King 5 has been following for years. We're going to track every step until the team officially calls Seattle its home once again. Stick with King 5 for everything you need to know about the process to get the team back to the Emerald City. You can scan that QR code on your screen to see the entire news conference with the NBA commissioner about today's vote and more of our coverage as well. Our other top story tonight, a new push to regulate social media companies. A first-in-the-nation law targeting artificial intelligence chatbots is now on the books here in Washington. As King 5's Maddie White reports, the governor just signed a new law this week adding safeguards for young users of AI.
That's right, Greg. And tonight I heard from a father in Olympia whose loss helped push House Bill 2225 forward. A defining moment and a warning.
AI, of course, has incredible potential to transform society. At the same time, of course, there are risks that we must mitigate as a state, especially to young people.
Governor Bob Ferguson signed House Bill 2225 into law this week, acknowledging both promise and peril.
There have been stories of teens turning to these chatbots in times of distress before, quite tragically, ultimately ending their lives.
The law now requires AI chatbots to flag signs of self-harm, connect users to crisis hotlines, guidelines and limit manipulative or explicit content for minors. But for one of the people standing next to Ferguson Tuesday, this was more than policy, it's personal.
I'm thrilled, really, just to see some basic level accountability being built into this kind of on the forefront. We're getting ahead of the curve.
Aaron Ping from Olympia lost his 16-year-old son Avery just over a year ago after a poisonous drug deal over Snapchat. He says he never knew how few safeguards existed.
The public doesn't really realize that until, it comes up and your son dies.
Researchers say the risks are real and growing.
Tech companies can't be relied on to regulate themselves, so we really need to step up and regulate.
Supporters call it a balanced approach, protecting kids without stopping innovation.
Mitigating the risk, but trying to take on some of the benefits as well.
But industry leaders warn the law may go too far.
The risk is legislating based on rare, horrific outliers.
For Aaron Ping, those outliers are real lives.
It's a relief. It makes me sleep a little better at night.
A bittersweet victory, a law meant to protect the next child.
It's hard. It's really hard.
And a father hoping his son's story saves another. The new law also aims to prevent AI chatbot developers from using manipulative engagement techniques to prolong sessions like loneliness, guilt, abandonment, or excessive praise without guardrails. It goes into effect at the start of next year. I'm Maddie White, King 5 News.
If you or someone you know is in crisis, help is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can call or text the 988 Lifeline. It is free and it is confidential. A California jury just found Meta and YouTube negligent in how they designed their platforms, saying that they are causing harm to kids and teens. A lawsuit filed by a plaintiff identified as KGM says the companies created addictive products that harmed her mental health as a minor and failed to warn users of the risks. She was awarded $3 million in damages, with punitive damages still to be decided. TikTok and Snapchat settled before trial. Meta says it will appeal the juror's verdict, saying in a statement, quote, "We remain confident in our record of protecting teens online." The FBI's fastest captured, most wanted fugitive has pleaded not guilty. Samuel Ramirez Jr. faces 2 counts of murder, 1 count of attempted murder in the deaths of Jessica Hone and Katie Dunkey. The 2 women were killed outside a Federal Way bar nearly 3 years ago. A manhunt for Ramirez didn't turn up anything initially until earlier this month. Just 73 minutes after the FBI added him to its 10 most wanted list, he was captured in Mexico.
To get justice for those girls. They did not deserve that, and he doesn't deserve to be out there living the life. He needs to pay for what he did. He needs to man up.
Bail is set at $5 million. His next court date is April 6th. The suspect in a Mason County double homicide is now in custody. The sheriff's office posted this picture of Robert Child's arrest. The 60-year-old is accused of killing 2 people in the Hoodsport area last night. The Mason County coroner identified those 2 victims as 46-year-old Anna Child and 46-year-old Jason Hilde. Multiple King County leaders are calling on King County Assessor John Wilson to step down. On Monday, Wilson was charged with violating a no-contact order twice. Wilson's former fiancée, Lee Keller, filed a restraining order last May alleging Wilson had a history of stalking and harassment. Court documents show Wilson violated the order on June 30th and July 2nd of last year. King County Executive Gurmai Zahalai and 4 council members have also called for Wilson to resign. 7 days after a massive landslide shut down I-5 near Bellingham, we are getting a closer look at the dangerous work that's being done to try to clear that massive mess. That closure is impacting everything from daily commuters to freight crossing the Canadian border, and there's no timeline yet on when it could be cleared. North Bureau Chief Eric Wilkinson brings us the latest from the slide zone.
Well, you can see WashDOT crews dangling high above I-5, working to stabilize the hillside that came crashing down here near Bellingham 1 week ago.
It is very dangerous. These guys are trained in mountaineering, climbing slopes.
The methodical process of rebuilding this hillside drags on. 12 million pounds of earth, boulders the size of buses, bringing I-5 north to a dead stop.
We have an unstable slope that we need to stabilize.
And the way we do that takes a lot of time.
The work involves clearing away any loose trees or rocks, then bolting the hillside back into place.
We can fly our drones and use our expertise in the geotechnical field to find out where we should bolt the rocks to keep them stable.
A 200-foot wide swath of hillside along I-5 North between exits 246 and 250 collapsed last Thursday night. It's a notorious slide area. 3 cars nearly crushed Thursday, but for concrete walls put in place for a situation exactly like this.
I know that we saw some antennas and mirrors in the debris, so obviously some vehicles got a little sideswiped by the trees.
Northbound cars are currently forced to take Chuckanut Drive or Samish Way, and Highway 9 remains the only permissible route for freight moving across the Canadian border.
We know that closing I-5 is disruptive and inconvenient.
As work to open the freeway continues, WashDOT officials say they're using this opportunity to look toward the next potential problem.
We have our geotechnical engineers that are looking for additional cracking, and so we can remove those unstable rock formations now so that they don't come down in the future.
Right now, there is no estimate as to when the freeway will reopen. We are expecting another update on Friday. In Bellingham, Eric Wilkinson, King 5 News.
Well, after marking one of the wettest Marches on record, we're tracking some dry days, including the Mariners game. We'll take a look at the very latest when we come back.